So we're looking at Edge Animate, a bit more advanced animation, looking at grouping, symbols, blurring, a bit more sophistication in creation of assets. I'm just come here just to get an idea of the web banner adverts. So one of the reasons that you might make some animation is to make an advertising banner. Just go to any one of these, and they're all fairly standard. Basically, it gives you sort of size of skyscraper, and the full banner 468 by 60. That was one of the standards for about over a decade ago. I'm just going to look at what shall we do? Vertical rectangle 240 by 400. So I want a stage 240 wide by 400. So that's 240 wide by 400. Okay. My stage I'll make white. Okay, so what I'm going to do is have just animate some clouds over a blue sky. So let's just give it a blue sky as a background. So we don't need to make an object for a sky. We can colour our stage. So the sun. Let's have a think about the sun. Okay, so it's going to be an ellipse. I'm going to press Shift to make a circle. Just Control and then scroll in and out just to get the zooming in. I think Control plus or minus works as well. So for this object here, I want it to be yellow. Yellow is good. And I want it to have a little bit of blur. The sun is never that sharply defined. If we go into filters, which are generally cropped, we've got a few things here, but we've got blur. Okay, so that's quite nice. So I could animate this. I've been doing this. Alright, okay. Great. I've been making this in a movie that I've been playing with. And I've got to 5... Is that 5 minutes? Surely not. 5 seconds. Okay. So I've accidentally animated the stage colour. Let me just sort of make this 5 seconds. There we go. So let's just get the colour here. If we do Control C, oops, and then Control V, what I've done is I've taken this keyframe and pasted it in here. So now the colour is the same at both ends. What I want to do is take the ellipse. If I double click it, call it the sun. I want to take that at this time, move it, say, down here, and make it a little bit smaller. So this is the scale. I'm going to make this to about 50%. Okay. So it's going to rise up on the left, get bigger, and then start to reduce down in size. Okay. So it's going to go from here to here. It's going to be very fast. And it's going to go from left to right. What we need to do is go to Motion Paths. I'm going to keyframe the location, and it's there. At that time, it's there. At that time, let's just give us a bit more space here. And if I click in the middle, I can move that up there, and when the sun gets to that point, just about there, I'm going to insert a keyframe on the scale. Where is scale again? I'm going to increase the size to 100. Okay, so okay, what I've done, keep doing this, you'll do this. So consider it a deliberate mistake. Scale X, scale Y. If in doubt, just click a keyframe. Make this 50. We have the option of clicking, pressing Shift, getting those two frames, Control C, and then, oh dear, not good. Not good. So, if you go into any search engine, here I have opened Google, and type in web ad sizes, you can get some ad sizes for web pages. That's not a good one. A better one, well, let's just go to images. This one gives you a whole set of sizes. I'm just going to go with this 240 by 400 for now, just because. And I'm making my stage that size. Okay. Scrolling in and out with Control enlarges, reduces, Control minus and plus does the same. Okay, so I'm going to make a sun rising over a blue sky. So rather than make a blue rectangle, I'm just going to go with a blue, and that's going to be my sky. So I'm just going to have a sunrise up and over, maybe a few clouds. So this is going to be an advertising banner, and as I'm animating stuff here, you'll be able to animate text and pictures and all sorts of things. So let's make myself a sun. I'll just do it at the side. I'm going to press Shift and bring me out a circle, a square ellipse as it were. With it selected, I'm going to make it more yellow. And sun is never that sharp edged, so I'm going to go to filters, and down here we've got blur. Now this is quite sensitive, so just blur it that much. You can see this is keyframeable, so I could have it blurred that much there and even more blurred somewhere else along the timeline. Okay, so there's my sun, looking very nice. It's going to go from here to here, but in that sort of shape. Okay, sounds like a plan. So what do we need to do? We're going to turn motion paths on. I'm at this time here. I'm going to keyframe both the X and the Y, so we've got a keyframe there. That's good. Let's do it over 10 seconds. So I'm just magnifying this so we can get 10 seconds just there. So move this out to 10 seconds. Let's just move that. Okay. So at 10 seconds, you can see this location here. As soon as we move it, we're going to get a keyframe here. And because we're doing motion paths here, I get a straight line. So I'm going to click on it and just offer up that point there so that our path is now like so. Okay, looks fairly decent. Come back to the beginning. I'm going to transform the scale. it's going to be 100% there. It's going to be the same at the end. Okay, I think I could probably click that as well to put the points there. And halfway through, I'm going to make these, I don't know, 120, what do you think? 120. Maybe 120 is not enough to see. Let's just have a look. Maybe a bit more. Maybe 150. I'm being lazy here. I should type these in, shouldn't I? Nearly. There we go. How's that? So we get a reasonable change. So we can play that. Now what I'm finding is that on some of these plays where you press spacebar, we do get some artifacts that are a little bit strange. Right, okay, now what I'm going to do is make some clouds. So let me just block that and get rid of it. It's only just taking out the transparency. I'm going to make some little fluffy clouds. Now we don't have a pen tool, so what I'm going to do is make some little fluffy clouds out of some of these. I'm going to make them white. Control C, Control V, just make that, maybe just make this a little bit like that. We'll get that one, Control C, Control V, Control C and V. It'll all make sense. Okay, so a nice fluffy cloud. So there's several objects then. You can see we're getting our objects up here in the elements. If you're in outer space, what I should have said was you could drop this up here. Lessons, elements. The sun, oh, it's locked. I can unlock it. The sun, I need to call that sun. And then we know what it is. These I'm going to select and then right click, and we're going to have a look at these. We're going to group elements in a div. Okay, so you can see we've made a group, and now when I move any one, it's all there together. What I'm also going to do is, well, we could have if we put that there and we do Control C, Control V, I've made a second one. So you can see now that we have two groups. However, more better alternative under symbols here is to convert this to a symbol. Cloud. I could have several clouds, so I'll call it cloud 1. And then here it is. There's my cloud. Now this is very much like movie clip symbols we had in Flash. And now I can take that away and bring a cloud on. Do I do it from there? I bring that there. And I can bring another cloud on. And I can bring another cloud on. So what I can do with these is go to the transform, rotate, I can resize, I can, let me see if I can colour. You used to be able to colour individual ones. Maybe you can, I don't know. The problem is, if I want to colour one cloud as a symbol now, if I double click, not the cloud name, because it changes the name, but double click this element here, you'll see that I go into the editing mode of the cloud. We can see here that this is like a breadcrumb. I can go back to the stage, just like Flash, and then go back into the editing mode. And if I want to make this object coloured, I'm not sure if I can. Group elements, ungroup elements. So I can break these down into individual elements now. Okay. The problem is that when I go back to the stage, every one of these, because it's a clone of the symbol, becomes affected. But let's not worry too much about that. What is interesting is that we can size these. And of course we can blur them. Perhaps we ought to blur them in here. It's not letting us. Okay, so maybe we can blur them here. Okay, this would make sense. So let's blur that cloud. Let's blur this cloud. If you can see where we can colorize these, that would be good. We can, I guess, make them sepia, so we can add some yellow in there, maybe, yeah, a little bit. Okay, so at the minute, our sun, which is disappeared, let me just get the bottom of this. Right, let's move that, get our sun, make it visible. So our sun is going behind the clouds, which is good, but we might want some of these clouds to be transparent. So if we just maybe move that down like so. Maybe this one is quite... Oh, I see. I'm messing around now with the opacity. Let's just not do that. Set it back to here. Set the opacity of the cloud to that. Set the opacity of this to be something different. Set the opacity of that to be quite small. Right. So we can see the sun behind all of those. Okay, so that's quite nice, isn't it? And so we could have this, we could have text coming through. Because we can keyframe the blur, we could have text coming in, stopping, focusing, and then blurring and then shooting out. So you could have all sorts of different effects. The thing is now, as I've been finding through the preview in a browser, when IE launches, Internet Explorer, whilst we've got transparency, it does not like blur, and some of the effects in IE are just not available to us. So let's have a look at this. Just put this in here. So this is Chrome, and I guess Firefox is going to be very similar. So I'm just copying the preview in a browser link. I mean, that is sort of reasonably realistic, isn't it? It's not too bad. This engraved thing on the symbol is needs changing. So that's that. So we've got some of the blur filters. You'll be able to get shadow, direction of shadow, the blurring of the shadow. We've looked at symbols. If you double click this little symbol here, it's the cog for movie clips in Flash. We can't do too much to it. Okay, we can't do too much to it at all. But we put them in here once, and then we drag them onto stage for as many times as we want. And you can see that the elements are far more simple now. Okay, so we make it once and then we use it as many times as we want. That's it. Very good. Thank you.